There are moments in life when all I want is to pause the world around us and sink into a space where joy becomes simple again. When I say something as light-hearted as just let me play now, what I truly mean is that I want a moment where the weight of expectations fades, and we can simply exist together, free and unburdened. Life asks so much of us, sometimes more than we dare to admit, and even the strongest among us need softness, laughter, and a chance to breathe. I want us to create our own little sanctuary where we can be playful, where the seriousness of everyday life loosens its grip, and where our hearts find a rhythm that feels both familiar and refreshing. These small, joyful interruptions in the routine become the memories that linger the longest, and I want to share them with you. When I imagine us enjoying something silly or spontaneous, I think of how much warmth those moments bring. Whether it's us dancing without music, laughing at a joke that makes no sense, or challenging each other to the kind of games we never outgrow, I want us to embrace those experiences without hesitation. Not everything in life needs to be complex or heavy. Sometimes the beauty lies in the lightness we allow ourselves to feel. So when I express that desire to play, it isn't just a wish for entertainment, but an invitation to reconnect. Not only with each other, but with the part of ourselves that still knows how to be joyful without reason. I want us to be able to let go of the outside world together. Whenever we share those little bursts of laughter or those quiet, playful glances, I feel something gentle become stronger between us. It reminds me that happiness doesn't always come from big achievements or perfect plans. Often it comes from the simple presence of someone we trust, someone who understands us even when we say very little. I believe that playfulness creates a unique closeness, the kind that grows in moments of lightness and sincerity. And that closeness is something I treasure deeply. Sometimes I think about how easy it is to become overwhelmed by responsibilities, schedules, expectations, or the feeling that every moment must be productive. But I want us to step away from that mindset every now and then. I want us to carve out time where our only goal is to enjoy being together. Maybe it's watching something that makes us laugh uncontrollably, or teasing each other about something small and harmless. Perhaps it's simply letting our minds wander into a space where imagination takes over. All these moments remind us that we are allowed to slow down, we are allowed to enjoy life, we are allowed to be playful. When I say just let me play now, I hope you hear everything behind those words. I hope you feel the sincerity and the affection woven into that request. It isn't about childishness, it's about embracing a part of life that adulthood sometimes hides away. It's about letting our hearts feel lighter. It's about discovering how much happiness can grow between two people who give each other permission to be fully themselves. And in a world that pushes us to act strong and composed, being able to laugh freely with someone you care about becomes one of the purest forms of comfort. I've always believed that play is more than a distraction. It's a window into our truest selves. When we let go of the pressure to appear perfect, when we allow ourselves to enjoy something without evaluating it or controlling it, we reveal parts of our personality that are usually hidden under layers of responsibility. Those are the parts I want us to explore together. I want to learn the way your face lights up when you're having fun, or the way your voice sounds when you're excited by something simple. Every detail like that becomes a piece of the story we're creating, filled with small joys that make life richer. And the memories we make through play often become the ones we revisit when life grows difficult. A shared laugh has a way of resurfacing in quiet moments, reminding us that even in uncertainty, there were times when joy felt effortless. Those playful memories become anchors, holding us steady when the world feels overwhelming. They remind us of how beautifully human we are, how capable of happiness we remain, no matter what challenges we face. And that's why I want us to continue building memories like that, not to escape life, but to enrich it. What I hope you understand is that this invitation comes from a place of affection and trust. I don't take lightly the idea of relaxing completely in someone's presence. It means I feel safe enough to be unguarded, to let go of formality, to embrace warmth and spontaneity without fear of judgment. When we are playful together, it isn't just an activity, it's a reminder that togetherness can be soft and comforting. We don't always need to be serious or flawless. We can simply be human and still feel understood. I believe that joy has a special way of strengthening relationships. It doesn't just sit on the surface of our interactions, it weaves itself into the deeper layers of connection, forming threads of trust and affection that become unbreakable over time. When we choose to laugh together, we choose to share a moment of vulnerability. When we choose to play, we allow ourselves to show sides of our personality that are rarely seen. And when we choose to embrace these moments, we are choosing each other again and again, in the easiest and warmest way. There is something magical about letting our playful side lead the way, even for a little while. It reminds us that the world doesn't always have to be so serious. It reminds us that even in days filled with responsibilities, there is space for joy. And it reminds us that we have the power to create those joyful moments whenever we choose to. I want us to take advantage of that power. I want us to let laughter become part of the rhythm of our days. I want us to choose happiness not as an escape, but as a celebration of the connection we share. Sometimes I imagine us discovering new things together, a new game, a new hobby, or even a new way of looking at everyday life. Playfulness invites curiosity, and curiosity leads us to unexplored corners of our personalities. I love the idea of us learning from each other during those moments, not through serious conversations, but through the kind of shared experiences that make us smile without even realizing it. These are the moments that teach us who we are when we are free from expectations. There is beauty in simplicity, and I want us to experience that beauty as often as we can. I want us to feel that softness in the air when we laugh. I want us to enjoy the warmth that comes from forgetting the world for a moment. I want us to feel close in the kind of way that doesn't require effort. The kind of closeness that grows naturally when two people allow themselves to be light-hearted together. It's in those moments that relationships strengthen quietly, gently, and authentically. When I ask you to join me in this playful space, it's because I believe that joy is something we're meant to share. I want you to feel how much happiness your presence brings. I want you to know that your laughter stays with me long after the moment has passed. I want you to understand that these playful exchanges are not small or insignificant. They are building blocks of something meaningful. They remind us of how deeply we care, even when we're not saying it outright. And as we spend these moments together, I find myself appreciating you in ways that go beyond words. I notice the way your expressions change when you're amused, the way your energy shifts when you're enjoying yourself, the way your smile softens as you relax. These are the details that stay in my mind and remind me of how wonderful it is to share time with someone who brings out the best in me. There are days when I find myself thinking about how fast life moves, how the world constantly pushes us to meet expectations, to accomplish tasks, to stay composed no matter the circumstance. And in the middle of that rush, I begin to crave something simple, something genuine, something that reminds me of what really matters. The moments when we laugh without thinking, when we let our guard down, when we feel completely ourselves. Those moments are like breaths of fresh air, and I want us to create more of them. When I say I want to play, it's really a way of saying that I want to feel that calm joy with you again. I want us to rediscover the parts of life that feel effortless and comforting. There is something incredibly meaningful about two people choosing to step away from seriousness and just enjoy each other's presence. It's not childish or irresponsible. It's a sign of trust. It takes courage to let your playful side show, to say things that make no sense, to laugh until you forget why you started laughing in the first place. And yet those are the moments that stay with us. They shape the way we understand one another. They soften our hearts and remind us that we are not just here to survive the world. We are here to live in it, to feel it, to share it. Every time I imagine us choosing joy, I feel something warm bloom inside me. It's almost like time slows down whenever we let ourselves be light-hearted. Suddenly the things that weigh on us feel a little less heavy, and the world feels a little less demanding. I want us to create a space like that together, a space where laughter is welcome and spontaneity is encouraged, somewhere we can forget about perfection and simply enjoy existence. Because those moments may seem small, but they echo in our hearts long after they've passed. Sometimes I think about how easy it is to lose touch with the lighter parts of ourselves. We grow up, we take on responsibilities, we try to present a version of ourselves that the world expects. And along the way, the playful spark that once came naturally begins to dim. But I don't believe it ever disappears. I believe it waits patiently, hoping for an invitation to return. And when two people give each other permission to embrace that spark, something beautiful happens. The world suddenly feels kinder. Our steps feel lighter. Our hearts feel more open. I want us to experience that together. I want us to rediscover what it means to play, not as children, but as two people who understand how precious joy really is. Imagine us creating a moment where we let go of everything else. No pressure, no expectations, no worries. Picture us sharing something simple, like trying to learn a new dance neither of us knows, or making up a game only we understand. It doesn't matter what we're doing. What matters is that we're doing it together, allowing ourselves to be spontaneous without feeling judged. There's a kind of intimacy that grows in moments like these. It's different from serious conversations or carefully planned experiences. It's softer, more natural, almost effortless. When we're playful together, we communicate in a way that doesn't rely on complicated words. A single look, a shared smile, a burst of laughter. All of it says more than a long speech ever could, and that unspoken connection is something I treasure deeply. It reminds me that happiness doesn't always need explanation. Sometimes it just needs presence. I believe that playing together strengthens a bond in a uniquely sincere way. It builds trust gently, like a quiet promise that says I feel safe with you. It shows vulnerability, but in the sweetest form. It reveals the parts of us that can't be rehearsed or perfected. The parts that are real. And I want us to have more moments like that. Moments where we can let the world be distant, where we can forget the noise and just be us, without roles or expectations. The memories created through playfulness linger, sometimes longer than we expect. There's a kind of magic in remembering a time when we let go of everything else and allowed joy to guide us. Those memories become reminders during difficult days. They remind us that we have experienced happiness together, that we know how to find light even in complicated times. And I want to build more of those memories with you. Not because life is easy, but because joy makes it easier to face. Even something as simple as sharing a silly joke or making a funny face can become something we remember with affection. These little things, these tiny acts of joy, slowly weave themselves into the story of us. And the more we add to that story, the richer and more meaningful it becomes. I want our story to be filled with warmth, with laughter we didn't expect, with moments we never planned but always treasure. When I say I want to play, I'm inviting you into that comfort. I'm inviting you to explore the softer parts of life with me. I'm asking you to share the kind of joy that doesn't require preparation or performance. The kind that arrives naturally when we trust each other enough to be unfiltered and spontaneous. It's a gesture that comes from a place of affection, a place of care, a place of wishing to feel close to you in a way that only light-heartedness can allow. There's something healing about laughter, especially when shared with someone who understands you. It releases tension you didn't even realize you were carrying. It reminds your mind and your body of what peace feels like. It brings you back into the present moment, grounding you more effectively than any complicated plan or careful scheduling could. And when that laughter is shared, it deepens the sense of connection between two people. It becomes something meaningful, something memorable. I want us to let ourselves feel that healing together. I want us to let the laughter flow naturally, even if we're laughing at something silly or pointless. I want us to let joy fill the space between us. Because when we allow ourselves to play, we also allow ourselves to feel. We open the door to emotions that sometimes hide behind responsibility and routine. And in that opening, we discover a deeper, gentler kind of closeness. Sometimes I think about how important it is to nurture the parts of us that crave joy. Those parts deserve attention too. They deserve moments where they can take center stage, where they can remind us that life is not only about challenges and obligations. There is beauty in the simple act of feeling light, of smiling without a reason, of enjoying the company of someone who makes your world feel softer. I want us to cherish that beauty. I want us to protect it, to seek it, to let it flourish between us. And it's not just about the moment itself. It's about what that moment represents. When I ask to play, I'm expressing a desire for connection that feels natural and genuine. I'm expressing a wish to build something meaningful not through seriousness, but through warmth. I'm expressing a longing for an atmosphere where we can be our truest selves, where we can speak freely without speaking at all, where we can laugh because it feels good, not because we're trying to impress anyone. I imagine us creating a pattern of joy that we can return to again and again, a gentle ritual that reminds us of how peaceful life can feel when we let happiness in. Whether it's a playful conversation, a small challenge we invent on the spot, or a moment where we simply act silly together, I want us to gather these experiences like small treasures. Each one becomes a reminder that life can be kind, that companionship can be comforting, that joy can be simple. There is a part of me that feels grateful every time I think about sharing such moments with you. Grateful because not everyone finds someone with whom they can be fully themselves, someone with whom they can be serious one moment and playful the next. That kind of balance is rare, and I don't take it lightly. When I say I want to play, I'm expressing that gratitude in the form of a hope. A hope that we will continue to choose each other in the lightest and warmest ways. Playfulness is not just a break from life, it is a reminder of what life can feel like when we allow ourselves to enjoy it. It teaches us that freedom doesn't always come from grand adventures or perfect plans. Sometimes it comes from laughing together in a quiet room, from teasing each other about something insignificant, from letting our imaginations wander without limits. I want us to embrace that kind of freedom. I want us to recognize its value and hold on to it. As our playful moments grow, I imagine us becoming more comfortable with vulnerability, because playfulness reveals truths that seriousness often hides. It shows how we react when we're relaxed, how we express ourselves without thinking, how we respond to spontaneous joy. And when we share those truths with each other, we form a connection that feels both strong and soft at the same time. A connection built not just on responsibility, but on warmth. I want us to continue nurturing that connection. I want us to protect it like something delicate and precious, because it truly is. I want us to fill our days with smiles that come naturally and laughter that unfolds without effort. I want us to let the world fade for a moment while we enjoy something simple and honest. That's what I mean when I say let me play now. It's a wish for time that feels real, time that feels ours, time that feels joyful. There are moments when I reflect on how precious it is to share a space where joy feels effortless, a place where our laughter comes naturally and our worries grow quieter, even if only for a little while. When I invite you to play with me, I'm really asking for a moment where we allow life to feel gentle again. A moment where we stop trying to manage everything perfectly and simply enjoy being here, side by side, comfortable in each other's company. That comfort means more than words can express. It reminds me that connection doesn't always need intensity or complexity. Sometimes it blooms most beautifully in simplicity. I want us to keep finding these small pockets of joy that feel like sunlight breaking through a long stretch of clouds. Even something as simple as teasing each other, or laughing at a mistake, or making a silly comment can bring lightness into a day that might otherwise feel heavy. And I don't ever want us to underestimate the power of those moments. They carry a tenderness that lingers long after the moment passes. They become memories we hold close without even realizing it. And above all, they show us how much warmth we bring to one another's lives simply by being ourselves. Whenever we let ourselves be playful, something inside me relaxes. It's as if the world stops demanding so much, and suddenly there is space to breathe deeply again. I want us to keep giving ourselves that space. I want us to build a connection that isn't only rooted in deep conversations or shared goals, but also in shared joy. Because when joy becomes a natural part of a relationship, everything else becomes easier to navigate. We become more patient, more understanding, more open to seeing the good in each other. And that openness makes the connection stronger in the most genuine way. The world can be overwhelming, and we both know that. There are expectations to meet, responsibilities to carry, and pressures we can't always avoid. But within all those challenges, there should always be a place for us to feel free, free to laugh without worrying how we look, free to speak without overthinking, free to make mistakes without embarrassment. That freedom is a gift we give each other, and every playful moment deepens it. When I ask you to join me in that kind of freedom, it's because I trust you with the truest parts of my heart. Sometimes the most meaningful memories are the ones we didn't plan. The moments when we look at each other and start laughing without knowing why. The moments when something unexpected happens and instead of frustration, it brings amusement. The moments when we let our imaginations wander into stories or jokes that no one else would ever understand. These are the moments that make me feel closest to you, because they reveal who we are beneath everything else. Two people who find comfort and happiness in being together. I want us to keep discovering new ways to enjoy life through each other's presence. Maybe we try a new game that neither of us understands at first, and we end up laughing at how terrible we are at it. Maybe we invent a challenge that has no purpose other than making us smile. Maybe we decide to act out a scene from a movie we barely remember, just to see how ridiculous it becomes. It doesn't matter what we choose, because the joy doesn't come from the activity itself. It comes from the shared experience, from the unfiltered connection that grows between us when we let our guard down. There's something incredibly meaningful about letting ourselves feel carefree, even for a short time. It's not about pretending that life is perfect or escaping reality. It's about recognizing that we deserve moments of ease, especially when the world feels complicated. It's about acknowledging that our hearts need rest just as much as they need discipline. And when we let ourselves play, we give our hearts that rest. We allow ourselves to recharge not through solitude, but through shared lightness. That kind of rest creates a deeper bond, because it reminds us that love can be gentle too. I want you to know that every playful moment with you stays with me. Even when the day ends and responsibilities return, I carry those memories with me like small sparks of warmth. They remind me that no matter how demanding life becomes, there is always a place where my spirit can relax, a place we create together. And the more we fill that place with laughter and softness, the stronger it becomes. It becomes a space we can return to whenever the world feels heavy, a space where we can breathe deeply and remember that joy is not something distant or fragile. It's something we share. There is a quiet courage in allowing yourself to be playful. It requires honesty. It requires trust. It requires letting someone see the side of you that doesn't always appear in public, the side that is spontaneous and imaginative and free. That's why those moments matter so much to me. They show me that we aren't just sharing the serious parts of life, but also the delicate, joyful parts that many people hide away. And I want us to continue honoring that trust. I want us to keep choosing openness over hesitation, warmth over distance, playfulness over pressure. Sometimes I think about how different life feels when we allow joy to be part of it. Problems don't disappear, but they feel less overwhelming. Difficult days become easier to face because we know there is still light somewhere. And even when we're tired or stressed, the memory of shared laughter has a way of lifting us gently. That's the power of joy. It doesn't need to be grand to be transformative. Even small moments can shift the way we see the world, and I want us to collect as many of those moments as we can. When I picture us in the future, I imagine a connection built not only on understanding and commitment, but also on countless moments of playful happiness. I imagine us looking back and remembering how many times we laughed together, how many times we allowed ourselves to be silly, how many times we chose joy when life expected seriousness. Those memories will carry us through challenges just as much as the serious ones will. They will remind us of what we are capable of creating together. A relationship that values both depth and ease. Every playful exchange we share becomes a thread in the fabric of our relationship. Each one adds color, softness, and warmth, and over time, these threads weave themselves into something beautiful. A tapestry of memories that reflects not only who we are individually, but who we become together. I want that tapestry to be filled with moments that make us smile long after the moment is gone. I want it to be something we can hold onto when life feels uncertain, something that reminds us of the strength and joy that exist between us. There is a quiet tenderness in the way playfulness invites us to be authentic. When we laugh together, we aren't trying to impress anyone. When we tease each other gently, we aren't performing. When we let ourselves be silly, we aren't seeking approval. We're simply being ourselves, fully and freely. That authenticity is one of the most beautiful gifts two people can offer each other. It builds trust without needing explanations. It deepens affection without needing grand gestures. It creates connection without needing perfection. And that is why these playful moments mean so much to me. They show me that we can be real together, that we can be imperfect together, that we can be joyful together even on days when the world feels demanding. They show me that our bond isn't only built on shared responsibilities or meaningful conversations, though those are important, but also on the gentle, quiet happiness of being together without pressure. I want us to keep choosing that happiness. I want us to give ourselves permission to play even when life feels busy, even when we feel tired, even when it seems like fun doesn't fit into the moment. Because joy doesn't need perfect timing, it just needs willingness. And every time we choose to let ourselves enjoy something, we strengthen the connection between us in a way that seriousness alone never could. When I say just let me play now, it's a soft request for connection, for comfort, for a moment where the world feels smaller and kinder. It's an invitation to breathe deeply and remember that togetherness can be light. It's a reminder that even in uncertainty, joy is still within reach, and we can reach for it together. As we keep building our story, I want us to embrace every opportunity to laugh, to explore, to notice the beauty in simple moments. I want us to let joy guide us just as much as responsibility does. I want us to let our hearts be open enough to feel playful, even when the world feels serious. Because these moments, these simple and joyful moments, are what turn a relationship into something lasting and meaningful. So let's keep making time for smiles that come naturally and laughter that surprises us. Let's let ourselves play, not as an escape, but as a way to celebrate everything we share. Let's treasure these light-hearted moments because they reflect the gentlest, warmest parts of our connection. And no matter where life takes us, let's remember that joy is something we can always create together, one playful moment at a time.